Hello, this is my introductory video to the negative binomial distribution. What do I mean by a negative binomial? Well, have you played the game of Ludo? In the game of Ludo, you have to roll a 6 before you can start the game. It can be really frustrating because it could take ages and ages to do so, and your competitors have already zoomed off ahead of you. But we have to carry on and on and on until we get a 6. So that's a form of binomial, but it's different in that in an ordinary binomial, we've decided the number of trials at the start. We do 10 and we see where we are. Here we're going to carry on and on and on forever until we get a success. So what I've done is drawn a nice little diagram to go with this. Each one of these steps here is a Bernoulli trial, one go of our rolling the dice. And that's what it looks like. It's a 1/6 chance of getting a 6 and 5/6 of not. So what happens here? Well, we're going to fail lots of times. So let's fail the first time, game 1 failure, 2 failure, 3 failure, 4 failure, 5 failure, 6 failure, 7 failure, and at the end we're going to have a success. And when we get a success, we're going to stop. So how many times did we go in this one? Well, we had 7 failures and we had 1 success, so we had n, and the number of trials was 8, and r, the number of successes, was 1. That's our ordinary binomial approach. So that's what we're doing, and this little diagram works very well for it because it's like a tree with only one arm of our probability tree existing, because that's the only ones that the rules of the game allow us to follow. Okay, let's build up our probabilities then. So what's the probability that we succeed on the first trial, n equals 1? Well, we'd have to go down this arm, and the probability of 6 on the first go is a 6th. Okay, what about probability of being successful on the second trial, n equals 2? Well, we'd have to fail on the first trial and we'd have to be successful on the second one. What's the probability of that? Well, that's 5/6 times 1/6, which is 5 over 36. Yeah. So what about being successful on the third trial? Let's quickly draw that in here. Well, I could fail on 2 trials and be successful on the third. So what would the probability be? Well, that's 5/6 times 5/6 times 1/6. Yeah. So hopefully you can see how this probably builds up. And now let's go back to our example that we had earlier. We had 8 trials. So we have 1 successful trial here at the end, 1 successful trial. That has a probability of a 6th. And we have 7 unsuccessful trials before that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each of those has a probability of 5/6. So that's 5/6 to the power 7, isn't it? So that's the probability that we are successful on the 8th trial. Yeah, that's the 8th trial. Okay, so now you can probably see that I could generalize this. Therefore, that what's my probability of being successful on the nth trial? Well, I need to have 1 successful trial there, and that's got a probability of 1/6, and I have to have n minus 1 unsuccessful trials, and each of those has a probability of 5/6. So that's our more generalized probability for rolling 6s, first trial to succeed. Okay, let's generalize that even further. Let's say the probability of success is p, and therefore the probability of failure is 1 minus p, also written as q. So if we do that, then what's the probability of being successful on the nth trial in this game? Well, I have to have 1 successful trial and I have to have n minus 1 unsuccessful trials. Successful trial has a probability of p, the unsuccessful trial has a probability of q, 1 minus p. You'll also see this written as q minus 1 to the p because it's the shorter way of writing it. You just have to remember the relation between p and q. So let's find the mean and variance now. Well, how do we find a mean? Well, we take each of the values and we multiply it by the probability of its occurrence. Our range in this case, we sum them up. Our range in this case, well, we're starting off with we could be successful on the first, and theoretically the maximum, well, it would be infinity because this could go on and on and on forever. And if we do that, we create a series that we would see in our A-level studies. So we've got, for the first success, so success on the first trial, we've got 1, and the probability of that is the P1. Success on the second trial, probability P2, etc. 3 and P3, excuse me. Now, if I start substituting in the value of the probabilities, well, the success on the first trial, well, the probability of that is P. Success on the second trial, well, that's 1 failure and 1 success, so the probability is QP. Success on the third trial, so I've got 2 failures, 1 success, that's Q squared P. And on the fourth, I've got 3 failures, 1 success, Q cubed P. Now you can probably see, just looking now at this series, that P is a factor, so I take that out the front. And I'm left with this shorter series, which is actually the differential of a binomial expansion. You can probably see it's a differential because I've got a 2 here with a power 1. I've got 3 in front of a Q squared. So if I integrated this equation, I would get Q cubed, wouldn't I? And here I'd get Q to the 4 in this term here. So I know this, you could work it out, you can look it up, but actually that series there sums as to the bracket here, 1 over 1 minus Q squared. Now, as 1 minus Q equals P, then that's P over P squared, which cancels down to 1 over P. Well, that probably makes sense, doesn't it? Because if I'm looking for a 6, well, I'm going to roll a 6 every 6 rolls of the dice on average, aren't I? So I'd expect it to happen every 6th roll, yeah? Let's look at the formula. That says 1 over the probability of getting a 6, which was a 6th, so that's going to be 6. Tick, that's what we're expecting. Okay, quickly look at the variance. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Here's our standard formula for variance. In this case, it's easier to do it by working out what the sum of the squares is and then subtracting the mean squared. We worked out what the mean squared was above. If we substitute our values into the series this time, the only difference from what we had before is that we've got the value squared at front rather than its value. So number of success, nth, the first, we're successful on the first trial, that would be 1 squared. On second trial, 2 squared. Third trial, 3 squared. And again, we can take the P out front, and we're going to see here that this is the second differential of a binomial expansion. And if you do the maths on that, you find that the bracket equals 1 plus Q over 1 minus Q cubed. And of course, 1 minus Q cubed is P cubed. So I've got a P on the top and a 1 plus Q, and they're going to cancel, the P is going to cancel to get a P squared, isn't it? So that's what I get here. I've got, this equates to 1 plus Q over P squared. 1 plus Q over P squared. Okay, so that's going to be my e to the EX squared. There it is, 1 plus Q over P squared. Now we already know that e to the x was 1 over P. So if we square that, we get 1 over P squared, and we get a nice cancellation, so we just end up with Q over P squared. So that's our variance of a single R equals 1 negative binomial. So here's our summary page. Here's the tree that we can use, tree diagram, make it look like that. Works out very well. Remember that N is the number of trials, P is the probability of success, and in this case R equals 1. We're going to have one success, yeah, in this example, R equals 1. Okay, what's our probability distribution look like? Well, the probability of the success on the first is P, probability of success on the second is PQ, then probability of success on the third is PQ squared. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a we start off with the value P, and then we get a decline, almost like an exponential decline here going on, don't we? Decay. Okay, and here's our general probability for success on the nth trial, and there's our mean and variance. So there you have it, the simplest version. In the next video, I'm going to go on and generalize to where we need 2, 3, 4, or 5 successes.